Hello everyone, Michelle here from The Creative Cove. Thanks for joining me today. Today's video on using up some scraps, which I've been trying to do, and yet I keep getting more. So this may be not a very effective video. However, it's fun. It's a fun way to play with paper, which is why I'm here. I just love playing with paper. So this is just tearing up and gluing down scraps. And that's literally all it is today. It's about my take on building up textures in papers and having these ready to use for clusters or even like a journal cover. This would be so pretty as a journal cover. And then just putting a focal point on it. So you can, these are pretty versatile pieces. You could call them master boards if you wanted to. I just call them backgrounds. So they're backgrounds ready to use for anything. In this case, I fold it over and use it for a pocket. So now I can embellish the pocket. And it's really, again, just about using up your scraps, which is the main focus for today. So I have these pieces here that are offcuts from journal pages that were too big. So I'd like to fill these. I keep them and then I glue stuff down to them. So I start with a bin here, and now I usually sort my scraps, so they've kind of gotten away from me lately. They're a bit of a mix-up in here, but I try to sort my scraps where I have what I call textured, neutral texture, so no color, but they have texture as in writing or stamps, journal pages, anything that has a print on it of some kind go in here. And then this other pile that is a big disaster right now, because when I cleaned my desk, I just kind of threw everything in it, is neutrals with no texture. So this would go over here. This should be over here. This shouldn't be in there at all. So these should be just plain neutrals. So you can see it gets messed up pretty quick, but I try my best at keeping them separated. And that way I'm ready to roll. At least in my head. I'm thinking I'm ready to roll. So I'm going to use a combination of these, but primarily I'm going to be using this group here. And I'll probably be reaching for some pages out of book pages as well. I'll use some of these up because I have a lot and they all have different fonts, which again adds more texture. And I do have to use some up because you can see I've got quite a collection going here. So let me just make sure I'm in frame. I hope that was in frame. So there's the bin. It's hard to see. It's so bright. Okay. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So I just start by pulling out pieces and sticking them down. Now I should have a bigger glue stick. It would go faster, but I think this is all I have right now. And it's all about playing with the textures of these papers. And I know I keep repeating that word. It's the word of the day, texture. But it's my favorite. So I don't use any straight edges unless it's on the edge. So for example, I will use this right here. And I'll stick that on the edge. Don't have to. You can always snip this down after. And I'm just going to rip these pages and glue them down. So you can use big ones at the beginning. Bigger scraps would be probably better, just so then you can break them up with smaller pieces after. So you can either glue the scrap or just throw glue on the page. Depends how neat you like to work. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I am not a neat crafter. You also want to pay attention to the thickness of the paper you're using. If it's thicker, it will leave a border underneath. So if I use this really thick piece, when I glue pieces over top, it's going to create a ridge on those papers, which could also be really fun. So it's really just experimenting, having fun with this. Of course, you can sew on it. You can add gesso over top. You can use like a stencil and add some textured elements to it. There's no rules here. It's just about having fun, being creative, using up those endless scraps and creating something ready to use in your journal. So if you like color in your journals, I would do this with all my leftover colored scraps. I'm more of I like neutrals. I've always liked neutrals. It's just what just what I like. I don't know how to explain it other than I did color for a long time. I did color journals for a long time. And I'll probably go back to it again, but right now I like the calmness of the neutrals. I just want to be submerged in a neutral zone. My house that I'm decorating right now is very neutral colored. I just find it very calming. And I'm really enjoying that. So that's why I work with a lot of neutrals. And to me, they seem a little bit more vintage feeling than color does. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I feel like there's a bit more of a neutral vibe and a vintage vibe when I don't use color. But that could just be me, so. And I'm just finding room. I do like to repeat textures over and over again. I want to make sure that I include the texture more than once, because that's fun as well. And you're just going to layer up until you're happy with it. And I do like to cover the full background. I do want to make sure I get everything. And then we can also add other things to this after. Depends where we want to take it, what direction we want it in. Do we want it very busy? Do we want it very subtle? What do we want? Different kinds of papers are interesting here as well. If you have like tissue paper, this I think is tracing paper. So when it glues, it will glue very wrinkly. Might be something you like, might be something you don't like. But you got to kind of give it a go. So we'll try a little tracing paper there. And as that dries, that will probably wrinkle, which could be fun. I'm going to fill this gap. I really hope I'm in view here. It's so bright right now in my studio that I can't really see the camera. Just let me have a quick look. It's a long piece too. Okay. And then maybe just something down the side here. Like I said, I'll glue it down, and then anything that pops out on the other side I can cut off. And maybe something just up here. Got this guy here. And also you can go vertical, horizontal in the same design. So this one I primarily did vertical, but now I might add a little interest by going horizontal. There's no rules. You do what you want to do. And I think they all turn out different too, because we all have different scraps. We all have different materials to use. I'm just going to break up this piece down here. Maybe put a little bit of that textured paper down here. All right, so this one's covered. Make sure it's glued. I'm just going to flip it over and trim the edge. And then I also like to add some tapes to the top. So if you have like washi tape or masking tape, this dollar store stuff that I like to use, I just find it helps. I'm going to move it this way, so hopefully it shows up in the camera a little better. Put this stuff back in here. I think we'll just do one page, kind of get the idea. So I have the cheapy tape. It's very thin, kind of fabric tape. So there's this, and in another video, I stuck it to a book page and ripped it up. So it still has that kind of translucent quality about it. It's really fun to use it for that as well. So let me just get this back to where it should be. And this stuff's really cheap, which makes it even better to use. And I just like to throw a little down. You could also even, if you wanted to add a little interest, stick it to some book page, assuming the book page is dry, and pull it up and get this kind of really cool thinned out paper here. So you can have a lot of fun with this and then keep this and glue it into something else, because that's a really fun texture. You got to make sure that's dry though. You don't want to do that while it's wet like I just did, because it will pull everything up. So you just kind of pull a little bit off like that. And then it leaves more of an interest behind. So all kinds of funs with tape. I also like to use this plain cheap masking tape. It's a nice neutral color, which is probably why I'm drawn to it. And I tear this as well. I just add bits of that around. And you just kind of keep going till you're happy. Maybe go horizontal on this one. And then maybe a little bit down here. So very neutral palette there. But now I have a background that I can cut into anything I want. I can make these into tags. I can fold this into a pocket, decorate this side. I can use this as little snippets to create clusters of things. I can build it up by using my little focal point pieces on top. You can do just about anything with this. You know, you can use it to take a piece of art that you like and cut a frame around it. And it's got all these interesting bits and pieces that stick out. So lots of fun. I'm not going to show any of that today because I think you get the idea of how to use these things. But this is a great way of using up scraps. And then the more you make, the more little bits and pieces you have left behind to start another one. I said I was only going to do one, but I'm just in the mood to glue. So I'm just going to keep going. Now we could do a colored one. Maybe we'll do a colored one. Just because I don't often use color, and I know a lot of you do like color. So let's do a colored one. I'm going to pull out my colored scraps here. So these are primarily, I don't even know if I'm on camera. These are primarily bits and paper, like actual cardstock paper. Your Creative Studios, I think, is in here. And then leftover pieces of like journaling pages. So there's a paper, a piece of Your Creative Studio packaging. So you can see I do have colored paper. There's a painting. I don't know why I put my painting in there. And here's another one. So these ones are pretty organized. So these are colors, but they're a little bit more on the neutral side. Which one do I want to use? These ones are sketches. Okay, let's use this one. So I do have some color. I do use it occasionally. These are really, I don't know if I'd call these scraps because they're full pages. But I do have quite a bit of them, so we'll use some up today. And let's see the difference that turns out when you use color, how different they look. Ooh, look at that matte. That's cool. I like it. I like it. Ooh, I like that color too. See, boom, automatically drawn to the neutral. It just looks old. That probably is old, this piece. Light purples. So color can be challenging in the sense that none of these colors actually match. So do you want something that matches? Do you want the palette cohesive? You would use colors in the same range. But for me, I'm just going to stick down whatever I can find. So you can see that these are in the same family. This one is not. So I might end up even covering that. Maybe I will keep it in the same family just for cohesive reasons. I'll save that for another piece. I'll just let that dry. That way, because I don't know if I'll like the paper if it's not all in the same family. It might bother me. And of course, you can add neutrals into your colors. This is fun. Stamped tissue paper. I think I did watercolor on this paper, so this is going to wrinkle. You're either going to love it or hate it. Use the rest of this up. I have a lot of purple paper, and I don't like purple. Never been a purple fan. I don't like painting with it. I don't like it in my journals. I don't know why. Just never been drawn to that color. When I was little, I hated pink too, but now I like pink. So your tastes do change. But this is pretty paper. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even though I don't like purple, it's still pretty. All right, let's find some more paper in that family. That color zone is the dark one. A bit much busier paper. What's that? Some beautiful papers in here, right? I really do need to use them. Dark blue. Let's see if we like those. Grainy blue. Yeah, this is definitely scrapbook paper here. We could do a bit of matte. That's got some fun blues in it. All right, let's play with these. So maybe I do want to use this striking blue. That's fun too on the back. I like that. Let's use that too. So this is definitely scrapbook paper, but I have no idea whose. I've probably had it forever. Now, of course, you can do straight edges, but the whole point is just to simply tear these things. You can ink this. Really have some fun inking it. I think the yellow would be fun to introduce in this. Keep tearing it. So much fun. Love this. I watch this pop just sitting on there. So cool. Love that. This edge, so I'm just going to rip that a little. So neat. I like that. That's fun. And you just keep layering it up. So you have all these pretty little things to use when you're ready to create something new. You know, another step, tags or whatever it is you want to make, or even a journal cover. I think these would make really cool journal covers because the texture's just so interesting on them. So I still keep going back more towards the neutrals. I can't help it. All right, put that one away. Go back to something brighter. one? No. This one. I can't help myself. I just could grab what I like. I think we need a puff of this dark blue back. That's fun. You'd be amazed what, you know, you come up with. Creating basically your own paper in a way. Break up this perfect white spot here with something. Maybe this guy. And again, I'm working in one direction. Horizontally right now. Vertical this way, horizontal this way. So maybe I want to break that as well. We'll see if we like that idea. It does make some intriguing pattern. Just going across. So I hope this video gave you some inspiration to use up your scraps in a certain way, and then kind of prep for some really fun papers to be used in a way you maybe didn't think of before. Thinking, what am I going to do with all these scraps? Well, this is one idea. It's not new. This is like, I think they call them master boards, but this is my take on it and how I like to use up papers. So here's one in color. Not a super tons amount of color, because my colors are still pretty neutral, like my color pile, but they're still so much fun. And of course, you can use any kind of washi tape you might have. Do I have colored washi tape? Let's see. Let's see what I got in my stash here. So I do have these really beautiful couple of tapes here. So I got some purpley blue one from, I think this one's from Your Creative Studios. Throw some of that in there. It's got a nice straight edge to it. I also have this really beautiful one from what's the washi tape shop. So if you really, I probably use this more when I go to make, say, a tag or something, you know, and use this more sparingly and more deliberate than just sticking it down. But I'll show you what it looks like. I think this would actually be really nice on top of the neutral paper. I think it might get a little lost on this one, but we'll try it. So you can just see another whole other layer of texture there. So again, I would probably use this more on a final paper, like a final, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a piece of ephemera, and really focus in on the pattern. But for now, I'm just going to show you what it looks like stuck down. So this again is the color going on top of the neutral. So you can really, let's just put this right here, and then I'm going to tear it. Just to, again, use it more as a, there we go. It's not sticky anymore because I just stuck it down the end. But that's a fun sticky piece too. So there you go. Just having fun making these master boards. I hope it did give you some inspiration. I hope that it gives you a means to use up your scraps, which we all find challenging at times since they build up so quickly. And you can just simply make these right into tags ready to go. So I hope you enjoyed that, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.